Hello and welcome to, I wouldn't exactly call it an episode, but welcome to another, I'll call it a mini episode of Charles Weekly Party. I'm Charles, your host, and before we get started, let's roll the intro. So, today being the recording date of this, I want to wish everyone a happy July 4th. And for those of you who aren't American, July 4th is a very important holiday. And I think a lot of people do lose sight of what it is, even talking about those who are American citizens. And really, it's a big thank you to the people who went and gave everything that they could for the sake of our freedom and having the ability to have all these freedoms that many of us take for granted today. So, without going too much into that, I decided that given the fact that the recording schedule for this ends up falling on the July 4th holiday and the observed holiday, I opted to take a little bit of a break. So instead of talking for a full little episode, I'm going to be putting this down as a bit of bonus content. So what that means is, instead of talking about architecture and technology as I normally would, or just one or the other, I'm taking a little bit of time off to just talk about the importance right now of our freedoms and how that relates to architecture and technology. And to start off with, I'd like to say that many other countries do not have every freedom that the American citizen is granted. Yes, there are some that come quite close to it, but I don't think any other country provides every single freedom that we have. Well, it's easy for people to take some of these freedoms for granted. I'd like everyone to pause and appreciate the freedoms that they have. Even if you aren't an American, right now I'd like you to try and think and enjoy the freedoms that you think about the freedoms that you enjoy. So many of us don't think about all of the ways in which we're blessed. The good old saying, count your blessings. Many of us have several freedoms at our disposal. And for better or for worse, we don't necessarily appreciate them as much as we should. And in truth, some of these freedoms are being threatened right now. And I know there are some countries that don't have many of the freedoms, like technology-wise. If you go and visit China, officially in China, you can't use a VPN. In China, I think Facebook is off limits, YouTube is off limits, many other social media are off limits. What else is there? I was looking just recently at a list of things that you can't use in China, and there are Chinese-approved alternatives. Now, I'm not saying that China is the only one creating limitations on freedoms. They're far from that. However, the fact that I'm able to have this podcast right now, and I'm able to speak freely, is something that I value dearly. Because and the fact that you're listening to it is another freedom, because there are some countries, once again, that regulate what can be said. In some countries, this podcast would have to be government approved, and I'd have a laundry list of things that I could and couldn't say. And if I say something that I shouldn't be saying over that, I could, or for some places, that constitutes treason, which means I'd say the wrong thing during a podcast episode. It isn't just, oops, I ticked someone off. It's, uh-oh, I ticked the government off. Now it's treason, and that was the final episode. So just appreciating that, I think, is very important. The other piece of how freedom relates to architecture and technology is, realistically, the First Amendment of the United States Constitution is protection of the freedom of expression. And what that means is you're able to express yourself how you so choose. And architecture is quite the expression. Expressions happen in many different ways and many different forms. And I've seen that through architecture classes as well. We can all what was it? When all 20 people in a class are given the same exact site and set of constraints, no two buildings look the same. And that's because each of us has our own way of expressing this. Being able to focus on the fact that I can express myself freely in my architecture and in what I do with my technology, because I can do quite a lot of things with the technology that many other people would get in serious trouble for. And before someone takes that out of context, no, I am not going and using my devices to do illegal activities. Yes, it is possible to do them, but no, I don't participate in doing them. So that's just, for me, that's an amazing thing. However, and it goes without saying that this freedom that I enjoy every day and you get to enjoy every week wasn't free. This freedom came at the cost of the lives of many men and women who have died over the years from when our country was founded to this day. And my message right now, my parti, is to enjoy those freedoms, recognize that they aren't free, and also protect them against all who want to take them away. Because don't get me wrong, there are people who who would like to see many of those rights taken away. And whether or not that will happen is the current fight that we work with. Yeah. So, do enjoy your freedoms. And if you are listening in a country with more restricted freedoms, I hope you get more of them. Regardless, once again, I just want to wish everyone a very happy 4th of July. And yes, I'm taking a week to step back, but I think it's important every now and again to take a little bit of a break, because if I know going at 100% all the time is excessively draining. For the content that I release on this podcast to be motivating, or not motivating, to be entertaining, I need to be 100% motivated with what I'm doing. And I think I'm on what? Last episode was episode 18 of season 21, named after the year. I think I've done 18 episodes week after week, and I think the 19th episode, I wasn't feeling the vibe for the 19th episode today. Between time constraints and other commitments, I need to take a little bit of a break, and I encourage everyone else to do the same as well. So my partie for the week is to take a step back, look and enjoy the freedoms that you have, and like I said, with the taking a step back, sit back, relax, take a breather. Because if you're running 100% all the time, you're not really at 100%. Have a good week, and take care.